people who take to the long road, certainly before technology, you do it alone, or if you do alone, you're going to get more from it. But it's the aftermath is troubling. What do you do with that enormous experience? How do you find a home for it? And that's really, I think that's really what this farm is about. It's a home for the experience of that journey. My name is John Devoy, and in 1985 I set out on a 2-year bicycle odyssey from Cork City to North Cape, and from North Cape via Eastern Europe through the Middle East to Egypt and right down through Eastern Africa, eventually arriving at Cape Town. And then that wasn't the end of the journey, because I had to ride back up from Cape Town across the southern coast of South Africa, back up through Lesotho and back to Zimbabwe. The skipper was in full throttle mode, and the narrow bow rose and slapped the surface, sending spray flying. My back was stiff against the barrel, my arse cold and wet, my hands sore and raw, and never did I feel adventure more. If it's to end out here, I thought, or on that approaching shore, it would have been worth everything. And then I knew more clearly than the rawness of where I was, that there are things worth living for. Things that can rock the life into us. And often, all too often, they are the very things we either fear or cannot ever imagine ourselves embracing. But they wait. It all waits until we arrive one day to find ourselves where we never dreamed of being, right there in the unpredictable, unfathomable heart of our own adventure. I believe then, and I still believe now, that I knew unconsciously that this was a personal journey. It was a personal odyssey. So I knew I wasn't thinking of down the road or what I would do with it, but I knew that writing a diary would make me reflect more on what I was doing, because I knew that making this journey was probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I was not going to do it again. So when you stopped your day, you got into your tent, you lit a candle, or you turned on your torch, and you wrote. There was nothing else to do. So, and there's a bit of a poet in me anyway, so I naturally, I like words, I like language. So, there was no other thing to do on a late night stuck in a tent, but write, Every kilometre from my father's house to Sudan was a beauteous warm-up. And if Egypt before it enmeshed me in humanity, Sudan followed with its very physical demands. But Zaire feels emotionally my boiling pot and is shooting so many holes in my travel dream that it's deflating thankfully into the seedy state of raw realism. In our limited personal capsule time, we travel, and we do so within a cultural framework time infused with all that infuses the social history space of our era. We act and interpret, perceive, imagine and discuss, ceilinged by the roots of our own upbringing, our culture, and the multitudinous limits of being a human sand grain in an ocean of extraordinary, unknowable experiences. What can I do with what I'm being offered? What do I do with this experience? Where do I put it? How will I tell it? Where will it take me?